Good afternoon. Welcome to Inside Indiana Sports Now with Kent Sterling. It's Tuesday, May 11th, 2021. We're brought to you by the great people at Today's Dentistry. Dr. Mike O'Neill, not only the best dentist I've ever gone to, he's the only dentist I've gone to in the last 27 years. You know why? Because he's the best. That's why. Take control of your dental health. Do it right now. 317-849-2933. That's the number to call to hire Dr. Mike O'Neill as your dentist. Punch subscribe, punch like, ring the bell. Let's talk about sports. Colts fans are not satisfied. The draft of Kwity Paye at 21. You know what? That's a good thing. Signing Eric Fisher as the new left tackle, assuming that Achilles heals the way it's supposed to and the leg strengthens the way it's supposed to. Trading for Carson Wentz, who in 2017 was an MVP candidate in his second year with the Philadelphia Eagles, and in the two subsequent years played really good football. Last year, not so much. Colts fans, they're excited about this team, but they want more. They want Julio Jones. They want Chris Ballard to execute a deal with the Atlanta Falcons that would bring Julio Jones, an all-world Hall of Fame potential wide receiver, to Indianapolis. And I'm here to tell you it is not going to happen. It's not something Chris Ballard will do. It's the kind of deal he never does. Remember what Ryan Grigson did with Andre Johnson? That free agent deal would be similar to this as a trade. And it would cost the Colts draft equity going in the other direction. That's not something that Chris Ballard does lightly. Number two, you know what? Julio Jones, damaged goods. Last year had a hamstring that just would not heal. As a result, Julio only played 9 games. In those 9 games, 51 catches, 771 yards, 3 touchdowns. Not exactly the kind of productivity you would expect from Julio Jones. And because he's 32, maybe you don't project it going further. You hope that Julio Jones can, because we don't wish ill upon anybody, do we? No, of course not. But if you're the Colts, you're not going to send draft equity to the Falcons in order to absorb a bad contract like Jones's contract. Next year, his salary, $15.3 million. The following year in 2022, $11.5 million. And if you want to get out of the deal before the 2023 season, it's going to cost you $7.75 million. Chris Ballard does not like spending Jim Irsay's money and his cap space in order to have guys not play. He doesn't do that. And so he's not going to do that. Julio Jones will not be an Indianapolis Colt. It just doesn't make sense in the way Chris Ballard needs it to make sense for him to make that kind of deal. So, got to be happy with what we got. Don't know who one of the linebackers is going to be. You got Bobby Okereke and Darius Leonard. Don't know who the third guy is going to be. But other than that, this team returns kind of intact from what it was last year, minus Anthony Costanzo, minus Phillip Rivers, plus Eric Fisher, plus Carson Wentz, and Marlon Mack comes back from being injured, and Paris Campbell comes back from being injured. I'm telling you, if that team can stay healthy, they can win games. That schedule, which is going to be released tomorrow, we know who they're going to play, but we don't know in what order. The schedule they've got for next year is tough, tough, tough. As easy as it was or as easy as it looked, it's never easy to beat an NFL team, right? There are no real patsies in the NFL. But comparatively, what they had last year, not a difficult schedule compared to what they've got this year. They do have 6 games against the AFC South. Thank God they're in the AFC South. They've got a game against the Jets. You win those 7 games, you take your chances with the other 10. You hope to split them. That would be a wonderful result. If you do that, you're 12-5, and at 12-5, you're going to the playoffs, and you likely win the AFC South. The Colts are in good shape in large part because Chris Ballard doesn't make the kind of deal that fans want him to make for Julio Jones. It's not going to happen. It just won't. That is not what Ballard does. I was asked this question today. What is the one rule in basketball I would change? And I'll tell you what it is because it kind of came into play last night as I'm watching the Pacers beat a terrible Cavaliers team and almost gack it up, almost lose the game. But with about 35 seconds left and the Pacers up by 7, Cleveland calls a timeout. And they keep calling timeouts because as long as you've got timeouts and you can advance the ball, why wouldn't you call a timeout? Let's say it's a 1 in 500 shot that you have down 7 with a half minute left to come back and win. 1 in 500, that's fine. You know what? Am I going to tell my GM, hey, you know what? I had better stuff to do than coach basketball until 10:30 at night. And so, yeah, I kind of mucked it and said to hell with it. We don't need to call more timeouts. No, of course you're going to call timeouts if you can advance the ball. And that's exactly what the Cavaliers did. And it made watching the final minute of that game just horrible. Pace of play, when it should be exciting, is completely corrupted by timeouts. So my rule to get rid of, timeouts. I want timeouts gone. I want them gone from basketball, college, and pro. I want them gone from football, especially in college. The NFL, look, here's the thing. Is you look at baseball, it's like Rob Manfred looks at baseball, and Adam Silver looks at basketball, and Mark Emmert, or whoever at the NCAA looks at college football and college basketball. You've got to say, all right, we got a problem. Our pace of play is problematic. The one sport and league that does not have a problem, football, the NFL. Pace of play, not a problem, unless you go to the game. Then it's a little bit onerous. But other than that, you know what? The final minute of the game, if the team ahead has the ball, bye-bye. It goes by in real time. It's excellent more often than not. And in basketball, it is absolutely plodding. Games never end. So please, put into place, and it's not about the amount of time these things take. It's not about Major League Baseball games averaging 3 hours and 7 minutes. It's not. It's about the pace of play within the game. We'll talk about baseball in a minute. And in basketball, it's about the pace of play in the last 2 minutes of the game. I watched a game, and it wasn't that long ago, but Thad Matta was still the coach at Ohio State, and this kind of thing happens from time to time, but I actually timed this one. The final minute of an Ohio State basketball game took 16 minutes to play. That cannot happen. 60 seconds, they don't need to go by in 60 seconds, but you can't have minute after minute after minute elapsing without any kind of on-court activity. You can't do it. Timeout. A little bit of play. Timeout. A little bit of play. Timeout. It's crazy. You can't have that. You can't expect fans. And you know what? Not coincidentally, where are the ratings the highest? With the National Football League. That game and sport and league on TV is rolling. They are incredibly popular right now. Those games on television, something like 70 of the top 100 television events in the last calendar year were NFL games on TV. Can't baseball and basketball learn? Can't they learn from the National Football League and figure out a way to fix end of game pace of play? Can't they? Take away the timeouts, and I think it fixes itself. Who do timeouts benefit? Not fans, not players. Players don't like timeouts. Players go over for timeouts, and they try to kind of pretend to pay attention to what the coach is saying. The only people in the building, let's say 19,000 people watching a basketball game, or playing it, or being part of the field house staff or whatever, only 2 people in the entire building want timeouts, exercise timeouts, and benefit from timeouts, and those are the 2 head coaches. Other than that, nobody likes timeouts. Get rid of timeouts. Understand this, if you're basketball or if you're baseball, that you exist at the pleasure of the people who watch. The only reason that players make $30, sometimes $40 million is because fans watch on TV and in person. That's the only reason. So you better figure out how to please the fans instead of pleasing your coaches. Same thing in college basketball. We know this is a multi-billion-dollar business. It isn't all about education, and it's certainly not all about the kids. So why are the coaches the people in the room who adjudicate rule changes and alterations? Why are they in charge of rules when they have nothing whatsoever to do with the popularity of their own sport? What they think makes fair play doesn't make any damn difference. Rob Manfred has it completely twisted with baseball. What baseball should do, the fix is so simple, it boggles the imagination. All right, what you do to fix baseball is you shrink the counts. 3 balls for a walk, 2 strikes for a strikeout. That's it. No more 3-2. No more going 0-2 only to go 3-2. No. We're going to truncate this thing just like they do in slow pitch softball, and we're going to get the game moving because it's about pace of play, not duration of play, and pace of play is just awful. Pitchers taking 20 seconds between pitches. Okay, you want to take time between pitches? Just make less pitches. We go to the bullpen, two rounds through the lineup, you go to the bullpen, right? Because if you don't, you look like an idiot because third time around, people smack your starter around. All right, I get it. But if your starter through 6 innings has only thrown 48 pitches, you're in pretty good shape. He's good to go. So there you go. There are my 2 alterations, but something's got to be done about pace of play because greed's killing. And I know the timeouts facilitate money because the timeouts open up a window for commercial content. I get that, but I'm telling you, you're tying off the udder, and you don't want to tie off the udder. Don't tie off the udder. Just continue to let the milk flow freely. All right. Pacers tonight at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. Dan Burke coming back as part of the staff of the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers are playing really good defense, and the Pacers' defense sucks. Go figure. The year after Dan Burke leaves, the Pacers have absolutely cratered in terms of their defensive mindset, their intensity, the simplicity of their scheme. Scott Agnes did a really good job writing about it at Fieldhouse Files. Read it if you like. Hits the nail right on the head. Good for Scott Agnes. Enjoyed the piece. And man, did we for so long, back to 1997, we enjoyed Dan Burke being a part of Pacers basketball, and that he was just allowed to go someplace else, or maybe it was like Nate Bjorkgren, it's your staff. If you don't want Dan Burke around, you don't have to have him around. What are you doing? Like if I've got to, if one of the questions I would ask, okay, who's your staff? And if Dan Burke, if you hire a head coach for the Pacers last offseason, and you get an answer that doesn't include Dan Burke, you're not dealing with the guy you want to hire. We'll see what the Pacers do tonight. They've got 4 games left. They've got a bit of a cushion. They're ahead of the Chicago Bulls. Bulls have some tough games left. It looks like the Pacers are going to be at worst 10th, maybe 9th as this play-in nonsense happens. Man, you know what? The only answer that makes sense to Adam Silver, Rob Manfred, and to an extent Roger Goodell is more money, more money, more money. If they can get more money, that's what they want. It's not about the beauty of the game. It's not about the popularity of the game. It's about finding a way to leverage more money out of clients and more money out of people who are paying for tickets. And you know what? It's pigs at the trough, just like Mark Cuban said. He said it about the NFL. I think it's exactly the same thing with the NBA, and maybe even more so. Billy Wright is coming back to Ball State basketball, which is great news. Billy Wright, a terrific coach. Coached at Pike when the Teague brothers were there. Courtney Lee was there. Rob Vaden was there. And then went off, coached at college. 6 years as the head coach at Western Illinois. Now he's coming back to Ball State, where he's going to be a men's basketball assistant. And that's just a really, really good thing. James Whitford, a very, very smart head coach. He hired Billy Wright once before. He's hired him again. Tomorrow morning, breakfast with Kent. We just solve problems here. It's what we do. You know what? I don't charge for this. If you're an administrator of a league, like if you're Rob Manfred or Roger Goodell or any of these guys, Adam Silver, Mark Emmert, you can watch this for free and learn how you should operate your league and your game, your sport. That is the kind of generous benefactor I am in the world of sports. Breakfast with Kent tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock on Facebook Live. right after that on YouTube. Again, hit subscribe, hit like, ring the bell. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning. Sorry, Colts fans, no Julio Jones.